Hello there, and welcome to episode 10 of the Wrestling Review podcast, where this week we are already at the go home show for WrestleMania. So tonight's show is live from the Manhattan Center on March the 22nd, 1993, and this serves as our go-home show for WrestleMania. There isn't going to be another Raw next week, so this is it. This is the last Monday Night Raw before the first WrestleMania of the Monday Night Raw era. The commentators this evening are Vince McMahon, Randy Savage, and Robert Bartlett. Vince is back, Macho Man's back, and Rob is still there. We're back at the Manhattan Center, and Vince welcomes us to the show and introduces Randy and Rob. Vince and Randy run down the card, and then we start with the Bushwhackers music playing, and Fink introduces first the team of Damien, Demento, and Repo Man. The match doesn't get started straight away because the Bushwhackers music plays for quite a while, but no sign of the Bushwhackers. We finally see them, and they are up in the stands in the balcony with the fans. They're licking fans, mostly children. It's all a bit odd. We go to an advert break, and by the time we come back, they still aren't in the ring. They finally manage to get down to the ring over the barrier. This honestly takes ages. We see the carpet again, the floor of the arena. It's just carpet underneath the mats. Finally, we get the match started, and Vince tells us about the March to WrestleMania event. We get a lock-up to start between Butch and Damien. Butch starts biting Damien's bum. I mean, seriously. I know this was 93, I know it was a different time, but seriously, the face here, the good guy, Butch, is biting Damien's bum. Repo Man comes in, but Luke comes in behind him and bites his bum. So now we're just biting bums. That's so far what the Bushwhackers have done. They whip Repo into the corner and then whip Damien into Repo Man, and again before knocking Repo down with a double clothesline, sending Repo and Damien to the outside so the Bushwhackers can march around the ring, because this match, heaven knows, has been action-packed so far. Randy says that at the March to WrestleMania event he will be taking on Yokozuna. It's interesting. Vince says it will be next Sunday before Randy corrects him and says that in fact it's this Sunday. So, not entirely sure when this event's going to be held. Damien gets back in the ring and Repo takes Luke down from behind. Double team from Repo and Damien sees Damien pull at Luke's face in the ropes before going to work with some punches and his own bit of biting in the corner. Damien with a leg drop between the legs of the poor Bushwhacker and a tag back in for Repo Man. They start working over Luke now, but Luke comes back with a shoulder block and a tag to Butch as Repo Man also comes in. Butch with a clothesline to both Damien and Repo knocks them and then knocks their heads together. Battering ram into Repo Man and the Bushwhackers get the win. A really, really bad match. Just so much time spent on the entrance, the Bushwhackers marching around. I seem to have memories of enjoying Bushwhacker matches or just enjoying the Bushwhackers from when I sort of watched a couple of old tapes of WWF, but if it's anything like this, what was I thinking? We go straight to an advert break, and when we come back we get Tatanka's music playing, and Reno Riggins is quickly getting out the ring as Tatanka gets in. Reno goes for a quick attack, but Tatanka chops him, hit big back body drop. Reno gets a sleeper hold on Tatanka, uses the turnbuckle to break it up by backing into it. Tatanka with a monkey flip and then into an armbar. Reno Riggins with the chops in the corner before Tatanka turns around and responds with chops of his own. Rob says it looks like Reno has some visible tan lines there, to which Vince responds, "Yeah, I'm sure that matters in the match." Maybe Vince here displaying the first bit of annoyance with Rob. He really didn't sound too impressed with that. He really was just, what are you going on about, man? Tatanka misses a crossbody as Reno Riggins ducks out the way. Reno smacks Tatanka into the turnbuckle, but he does his sort of Hulk up routine where he sort of stops selling and then dances around the ring, hits a couple of chops on Reno, sends him into the ropes, hits a chop as he comes off. Tatanka with a power slam and then kind of like a Samoan drop for the win. And yeah, great. Vince tells us that earlier this week they formed the Hall of Fame and inducted Andre the Giant as the first inductee. We get a video package of Andre highlighting him with Hulk and his classic images of Andre that I'm sure we've all seen. It wasn't long this after Andre had passed away. It was a very moving tribute to Andre and his induction into the Hall of Fame. I'm sure Vince sort of found this hard to do. I know him and Andre were quite close at the end, so yeah, it was nice to have that moment. We come back and we see some guys in the audience that Rob tells us are from One Life to Live. No idea who they are. We get the Bret Hart IcoPro advert, followed by the WWF Figures advert, and then back in the arena as the $1 Million Man's music plays and Ted and IRS come out to the ring for their match. Just one question I have with these Figures adverts before we get to the Ted and IRS match is we see the same advert all the time. So we get the Bulldog, Sergeant Slaughter. At no point has the British Bulldog or Sergeant Slaughter been mentioned on our programming. Now I know it's only an hour. I know we don't see everyone every week. There are weeks gone by where we haven't seen the champion. We haven't seen build up to the championship match at WrestleMania. I get that it was a different time. But we're now 10 weeks into Raw. Is Sergeant Slaughter still around at this time? Is the Bulldog still with the company? If he is, why have we not seen him at all? It's just, yeah, we're getting these adverts for Figures, but I'm not even sure if they're around. And if they are, why are we not getting Damien Demento figures? Because he's on just about every show. Anyway, that was just my wondering. Our third match then is going to be Money Inc. versus John and Jess Armstrong. I'm sure Fink says that their opponents are Scott Rich and Jeff Armstrong, but Vince then gets confused and says it's John and Jeff, almost like he thinks he's off mic and he's talking to Fink, but then corrects himself and says, no, Scott and Jeff. So, yeah, I'm not sure who they're facing. Let's go with John and Jess. IRS gets the mic and says, don't get caught cheating on your taxes. Ted starts out and we get an Irwin chant from the crowd. Ted with a clothesline and a knee to the midsection. I don't know which one of them is which, so I'm not probably going to use their names, actually. A clothesline takes his opponent, because I don't know which one, out of the ring. Rob is watching something else on TV, and he says it's the competition. Vince says there is no competition. IRS now is in, and he's against the other opponent, and Ted comes back in and hits an elbow and chop, and then chops in the corner. Double clothesline by IRS and Ted onto the opponent who's wearing blue. Power slam from Ted on blue opponent and IRS with flying clothesline for the win. Too short to be anything, and I guess made Money Inc. look good. Got the champions on TV, but nothing more than that. We go to Mean Gene for the WrestleMania update. The update is brought to us by IcoPro, which Gene says takes your body beyond your genetic potential, which really doesn't sound great. It's not the tagline I think I would be using for a line of bodybuilding supplements. Mean Gene tells us that we've got a double main event at WrestleMania and we get hyped for this with a Bret and Yoko first. Gene tells us on Superstars next week we will be seeing the contract signing. Then we've also got Money Inc. against the returning Hulk Hogan and his masked partner. Then we get the Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez gets a mention, and Gene tells us again that they will all be in togas. Gene mentions that there will be a full Roman Colosseum, guards, belly dancers, jungle beasts, and Vestal Virgins. Yes, Vestal Virgins. Gene says that Macho will be arriving in a sedan and wants to know if it will be with Vestal Virgins. Macho says yes, he will have Vestal Virgins. Vince informs us next up we have Kamala versus Doink the Clown after the break. And we come back from the break, and indeed we do. It's our fourth match of the evening. It's Doink the Clown versus Kamala. Doink comes down to the ring after the break and he has a wrapped up gift. Kamala comes out with Slick. We haven't seen Kamala for a while, not since he turned face really. Was it episode 1 or 2? We've not seen a lot of him. Doink looks like he wants to give the gift to Kamala. Kamala looks confused by this. Doink with a leg takedown and goes for the arm of Kamala. Doink takes Kamala down again and goes back to the arm. Kamala with a chop to Doink's head, but Doink rakes the eyes, and again with the takedown, nothing but holds so far in this match. A very different style than what I imagined Doink the Clown would be like. We get a hip toss by Kamala and a kick to Doink, a whip into the corner, and Kamala squashes him. We go back to the advert break, and then when we come back, Doink's back in control, but Kamala comes back with clubs and knocks Doink out. Kamala goes out the ring after him, and they run around the ring. Doink stops in the corner of the ring and gives Kamala the gift. Fink says Kamala was counted out. Doink wins. Yeah, okay. It wasn't obvious at all. Didn't see the referee making the count, just the Fink announced that he'd been counted out. Doink goes under the ring, and Kamala goes after him. Doink gets a chair and clearly hits the post under the ring rather than Kamala. It's a bit rubbish. Kamala sneaks up behind, chases Doink off with the chair, and they run all the way to the back. We then get a WWF Mania video again, the same as the other weeks that we've already seen with Todd Pettingill hyping WWF Mania. We go back to the commentators, and Vince says that we will now see the world premiere of Respect by Aretha Franklin. Vince says that we'll be back with Rob Bartlett Fan Club. I don't get this bit at the end. Sometimes it feels like they're just filling time. Vince says that Rob won the 1993 Spam Eating contest, and he's with his fan club, who are the 3 larger ring girls that we've seen over the past few weeks. They say they love Rob. Vince says that there should be a display of affection, and so Rob kisses one of them and goes to kiss another, but she doesn't seem as keen. We get a Slim Jim advert, thankfully, to just get away from whatever that was at ringside. And then we go back to Vince, who hypes the match to WrestleMania event again and says it will be Randy against Yokozuna. It'll also feature Bam Bam against The Undertaker and an interview with the Mega Maniacs. All this and a midget tag team 6-man tag match. So that's something to look forward to. And like I say, that was it. That was our go-home edition of Monday Night Raw. We haven't got one next week, so here on the 22nd of March is our last Monday Night Raw before the WrestleMania event coming up. Excellent. We look forward to seeing you then.